In a previous video, we showed you how to link up a print file. That way, if the media type changed from a screen into print, it would feed it a different CSS file that would override certain elements of our normal CSS to make it print ready. We can do something similar like that, but that will have changes and make effects to devices with smaller resolutions. So in this example here, I'm going to load up the mobile.css style sheet if we're using a screen and the maximum width of that screen is going to be up to 600 pixels. That means 600 pixels and below. So we're going to save that and we're going to open up mobile.css file. And you can see in this example here that I'm going to go ahead and take, if we look back at this file really fast, you can see we load our normal CSS. We override certain things if it's a print job, and we're going to override more if it meets certain conditions, and in this case, 600 pixels or less. So in this file, what we're going to do is it will typically load our body, which will add a background image, a color if we need to, and some different things here. And what we're going to do is if it's 600 pixels and below, it's going to load a background color red and turn the background image off. And so we come back here and refresh it. Our page looks just fine until it gets really small, and you can see how that red is now turned on. Okay? And this is a simple example of applying a media query by loading it into a new page, a new style sheet right here. Now, one thing we can do, because order matters, we've got to load ours and then override if it's print and override other elements if it's mobile. We're going to take that and we're going to do something different. We're going to use what's called a media query. And we're going to take this whole line out, and kind of similar to where we use the support tags to allow us to use grid under certain conditions, we're going to go to the bottom of the page because we want it to load up our normal style sheet first. And then we're going to do an @ media, and then say screen, and max width is 600 pixels. We're going to go grab that background body tag right here. We'll cut that out. We'll come in here and we'll place this. And what this is saying is, first off, going to load our normal CSS, and then based on certain conditions, it will load our mobile CSS. The nice thing about doing this is it's one less file that the system has to load. It's going to save on file size. It's going to save on how fast your page loads. And sometimes it's just a little bit easier having to say, if it's smaller than 600 pixels, we want the background color to be red. So let's save that. We'll go back here and refresh it. And you can see again, it works the same way. So there's two ways of doing those media queries. One is using this way. You can see the media types, kind of its media features or conditions, and then within two major curly braces you do all your CSS declarations. And the other is using that @media screen and max width, and basically put in there and then just loading a fresh CSS file into it. Before we move on, I wanted to show a list of some of the different media types that exist out there. We have all, which is everything, right? We've been using that. We have print for printers, and we have screen if we want to use this. And in our case, we are using a screen and this. And you can use little words like only or not, depending on what kind of conditions you want to feed it. And then if it is that type, then you can give it other feature types in there. And here's a big long list of ones, all kinds of hover and colors and grids and verted colors and max widths and min widths and all kinds of things. Okay, some examples down below might be this. This is very similar to ours. If it's a screen in less than 600 pixels. If it's let's go to another one here. Let's see. If it's a screen, do that. If it's print, do that. If it's between 900 and, or sorry, not between, because between. It would be the maximum, the largest it can be is 900, but the smallest it can be is 600. So that would read it as between 900 and 600. And so that would make some changes. Or with a comma above 1100 pixels. You can kind of see that right there. There's all kinds of other things you can use. You can use like screen ratios, or if it's landscape or portrait, and all kinds of different stuff, and feed it different CSS based on all those conditions. So again, we do that to add different CSS to our page based on certain conditions, and we're going to go into all those conditions in future videos here.